On Get Up is called Slump or Jump Quarterback Edition. Harry, year 3 for C.J. Stroud. You expect him to slump or jump?
I'm going to go jump, Greeny. You look at 2024, the offensive line was atrocious. C.J. Stroud was second most in the NFL, only behind Caleb Williams. But also wide receivers were injured. He has a new offensive coordinator. I believe those two guys are going to hit it off. We make excuses for every other quarterback except Patrick Mahomes and C.J. Stroud. He still got it done last season.
And won a playoff game along the way. Lewis, let's talk about a fellow who was once a #1 pick, Kyler Murray. Slump or jump in Arizona?
Yeah, I think he's going to make a jump. I think this entire football team is going to make a jump. They've done a lot of good work in free agency. Look, he has some tremendous weapons on the perimeter. Trey McBride at tight end is fantastic. He gets talked about within football circles, but I think nationally he can have maybe one of those breakout seasons where you start talking about him as one of the great tight ends in the league. Marvin Harrison Jr. He has to really burst onto the scene. From what I hear, he has been having a fantastic camp. They've developed some more chemistry between him and Kyler Murray. I think Kyler takes off.
All right, and then let's talk about the Super Bowl champs, Jalen Hurts. It wasn't a sterling regular season. Obviously, the playoffs couldn't have gone better. Harry, do you expect a slump or a jump?
I'm going to go jump, just like Chris Cross told us in the 90s. Jump, jump. Jalen Hurts will make you jump, jump. And it's because you're going to have more defenders stacking the box, right? That's going to leave man coverage one-on-one on the outside with Devontae Smith and also A.J. Brown. Dallas got it in the mix as well. Saquon being a receiver out of the backfield. So I'm going to go jump.
Let me give you the ultimate testament to how good and how determined Jalen Hurts has been. Kevin Petullo will be the offensive play caller for the Eagles this year. He'll be the 4th different offensive play caller that Jalen Hurts has had in his last 4 seasons. He's been the pass game coordinator each of those 4 years. So it's not like he's new to the building or new to the quarterback, but it's someone different calling the plays, and it has been that for him basically going all the way back to college. And if you listen to people who know what they're talking about, like Peyton Manning, they are very high on Jalen Hurts.
He's played so well in both those Super Bowls, but I like the way he goes about it. He calls me a lot. It asks me lots of questions. They actually run a lot of plays that we used to run, Sirianni to Frank Wright to Tom Moore, sort of that chain. And he calls me with very specific questions about certain plays. So he's a student of the game. You know, as another example, you think, he squats 600 pounds. He can, run over guys. He can throw it a mile. But his appreciation of the cerebral part of the game is what's impressive to me, and how he's taken his game to the next level. And I think the sky's the limit for this guy.
Have you ever met a more intense, serious human being than Jalen?
No.
It's almost intimidating when you're in the room with him.
All right, so it's an interesting conversation with Peyton Manning and Chris Collinsworth about the young dynamic quarterback. And now we know the football season is here because Sal Paolantonio is live on Get Up. The Eagles and the Browns are having joint practices, and Sal's going to cover both sides of them for us today. Sal, let's start there with the team you know so well. Jalen Hurts, we've talked about all the coaching turnover, obviously winning the Super Bowl MVP. How is he adjusting in year 1 with Kevin Petullo?
Well, Kevin Petullo is, as you mentioned, the 4th play caller in Jalen Hurts' ear in 4 years. If you go back to 6 years, it's the 6th play caller in his ear in 6 years, Greeny. And he's always had to adjust. But let me rephrase the question for you. It's really up to Kevin Petullo to adjust to Jalen Hurts, the Super Bowl MVP. And as you heard Peyton Manning just talk about, the fact that operationally, when you see Jalen Hurts up at the line of scrimmage, his ability to check with me, change the play, get out of bad plays and into good ones, with Cam Jurgens and with his run coordinator, Jeff Stoutland, is amazing and was very evident during the Super Bowl. The two things that are evident in training camp is they want to be better in timing, going from huddle to the line of scrimmage. Not Chip Kelly fast, but faster on a little more consistency in the passing game.
It's so interesting to me when I hear Peyton Manning say they're running similar plays. They certainly don't look the same, right? Like when Peyton Manning runs a play, he's not a threat to run with the football. There's so many things that Jalen Hurts obviously does that Peyton Manning didn't do, and yet here's Peyton saying a lot of the concepts are actually the same, and that's the stuff that Philadelphia is running. They've been doing it behind this magnificent offensive line for the last several years. Well, there's no more Mekhi Becton. We got Landon Dickerson hurt. Is there a concern there? Is there a concern about the foundation of their team, which is the offensive line?
Well, at right guard, Tyler Steen has moved in quite effectively during training camp. You never want to lose a guy like Landon Dickerson for any stretch of time. He is the highest paid guard in the NFL for a reason. Super tough, super smart, a great player. But when you look at last year, take a look at this graphic that we had prepared for Get Up. The Philadelphia Eagles had 28 different offensive line combinations last year, fourth most in the National Football League, and still went to the Super Bowl and won it. And still had Saquon Barkley as the leading rusher, and still had him as the offensive player of the year, and still Harry Douglas beat the Green Bay Packers twice. The Packers came close twice, but the Eagles beat them twice. And the reason is two words: Stoutland University. They've got great depth, and they got a great offensive line coach. Stoutland University, as you can see, we got the t-shirts. T-shirts, you can get them online for Eagles Autism Foundation. This one's for Peter Schrager, so we can wear it around Manhattan. I'm going to wear this one in South Philly. We got one for Peter and one for me.
Jeff Stoutland, the outstanding offensive line coach. Sal, stay with us. Stay in the conversation here, because that's a big piece of it. And
Double XL, Sal. Thank you.
I hear what is that? What is that? A night for you? Double XL. Okay, let's get serious here, because it's interesting. I don't even know what I meant by that. Here's what.
My 90?
I started saying nightgown, and then I realized that's a ridiculous thing to say, and so let me just let's try and pretend that moment didn't happen. Okay. Here's the question I have. Brian Windhorst always says in the NBA, winning a championship means never having to say you're sorry. Yeah. That's great. So they won the championship, and Jalen Hurts was the Super Bowl MVP, and he was brilliant in that game. So it makes it easy to completely forget that there were moments during last year where we were significantly questioning the ability of this offense to throw the ball. Are those days completely behind us? The A.J. Brown and all that stuff, is that all just over and done with now because of what they proved in January and February?
Well, it is for the time being, right, until it rears its head again, until maybe there is some adversity that they hit as far as not being efficient, throwing the football, pushing the ball down the field. Then people will bring it up again. But I think in the grand scheme of things, it's not something that Philadelphia's sweating. I don't think it's something that they're worried about. If you look at Jalen's statistics, minus 20, 23, this is a guy who's been on the up and up in terms of passer rating, completion percentage, yards per attempt. 23 is when he